For her week 1 lesson, it'll be about ecosystems and biodiversity. Her objectives for you guys are to be able to define the ecosystem structure and assess biodiversity metrics. Some key concepts that we'll be going over are trophic levels, species richness, and keystone species. So, first things first, biotic versus abiotic factors. All that biotic means is living, so anything that is um, okay, but basically, biotic just means living, which is anything like animals, plants, fungi, bacteria, and anything that has the word bio in it normally means life. As for abiotic factors, which just means that it's non-living, things like sunlight, water, air, rocks, are all things that are abiotic factors. And just something to think about is, can you name one biotic and one abiotic thing in your backyard? Now for trophic levels, which is basically just who eats what. On the bottom, we have decomposers, which means that they just provide food for, or what's it called? They're at the bottom. And producers, they make their own food, which means that they don't consume anything. And as you can see, in the producer side, you have all plants, and typically they make their food from sunlight. Now for primary consumers, they eat producers. So the things like rabbits chew on grass, plantation, any plants, things like that. And typically, primary consumers are herbivores. As for secondary consumers, they eat the primary consumers, and you're seeing a bit of a pattern. But basically, the upper levels eat the lower levels. As for the ecosystem breakdown, some components of an ecosystem are where an organism lives, the population, which is a group of organisms of the same species in an area. The community is just a total of all the populations in an area, and finally, the ecosystem is the interaction between the community and habitats. For species richness and evenness, richness is how many different species are in an area, and evenness is how balanced those species are. As you can see with these two graphs, what they're basically showing is that over time, the first graph is showing that over time, the amount of coral cover has decreased, meaning that the amount of coral reefs has decreased, which is due to a variety of factors, the biggest one being human intervention and human pollution. The second graph shows that the fish species richness, which means, like we discussed up here, which is how many different species are in an area, which means that the amount of different species, for the most part, has been decreasing before a sudden increase in 2002 to 2003. We'll be having a discussion, if the students were here, about why is biodiversity important to an ecosystem. As for conservation efforts, reforestation is just the planting of trees in degraded areas. Sustainable logging is balancing tree harvesting with regrowth. Protected areas are creating national parks and reserves where the life, the plant life, just everything overall, the nature there is protected. And community programs which involve local forests, which involves locals in forest management. As for the role of individuals, you can support reforestation projects, you can reduce paper and wood consumption, practice sustainable living, and spread awareness about forest conservation.